You can just give me 1 minute. I'm just going to mute all so that no one who comes in will get muted. Yeah. You can unmute and start, Nana.
Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamotim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasyadi Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smruti Puranhanam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet. Brahmara,
Yes,
has Mr. Vijay come? He was raising a question yesterday. I said tomorrow we will look into that. If he has come, we will have him address that question. Otherwise, we'll go forward.
Yeah, I think he has not joined yet.
Okay. Then when he comes, you remind him.
Okay.
We can take up that question as we go by.
Fine. So we stopped here yesterday.
Correct. You start from here.
Here?
Or if you want any kind of a recap, you would better read the earlier para once again.
One para once again, I will just read.
Yeah. Yeah, the Shruti statements.
Right. Okay.
From there.
Am I enough audible to everyone?
Yes, Brahmaraji.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. The Shruti statements that talk about various karmas are relevant for people who have not yet attained self-knowledge. While previously Shankara argued that they are indirectly valid means of knowledge for gaining moksha, here he shows how they are directly means of knowledge prior to the gain of knowledge of Atma. It is like perception, etc., which are valid means of knowledge for one who is identified with the body, etc. Only when the body, mind, senses are identified as the Atma do these become pramanas. Otherwise, they are all sublated, badita pramanas. Even though they continue to operate, they have only empirical reality, not absolute reality. Once one knows the self. Similarly, before the knowledge of the Atma, the Karma Kanda has validity as a direct means of knowledge like perception, etc. We do not say that the Karma Kanda has no validity as a means of knowledge, pramana, only that it has no validity for the person who has gained knowledge of Atma. Even within the Karma Kanda, an injunction is only valid for the person who is qualified to do it. An injunction for a married person has no validity for a brahmachari. Similarly, for the person who is qualified for moksha or the person who already knows the nature of Atma, the Karma Kanda has no pramanya, validity. Nana,
Hari
can
Om.
you explain what this badita means?
Badita means what can be negated.
Huh.
Badita is what can be negated. Like, for instance, if you recollect a verse in the 6th chapter, Dhyana Yoga, Atma Samyama Yoga, Arurukshor Muner Yogam, Karma Karanam Uchyate, Yoga Rodhasya Tasyeva, Shamak Karanam Uchyate. That is, Arurukshor Munehe Yogam, Karma Karanam Uchyate. The person who is not yet qualified to appreciate the truths of the higher, for him, karma is required to be done cleanly, very nicely. And yoga rudhaschatascheva, for one who has already developed his faculties, the mind, antakarana, etc., very nicely, shama karana muchyate. There the shama means not the indriya nigraha, mano nigraha alone. It is a kind of a contemplative attitude for his life. That is shama karana muchyate. Yoga rudhasya tasyeva shama karana muchyate. Because as far as he is concerned, the results that accrue because of doing the kamya karmas, etc., he has gone beyond all those things. They have become badita for him. He has kind of come to appreciate that they have no useful purpose at all. And he would better undertake any activity with the karma yoga bhavana. Ishwararpana buddhi, prasada buddhi, and asanga buddhi. These three are required. And with that, he goes forward. For him, these karmakanda injunctions become badhita.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
They have no more purpose for him.
Mm.
Like when we were in the kindergarten or whatever, we had to make an effort to know 1 + 1 makes 2 and things like that. And the teacher in our school has shown by various audio-visual means how 1 + 1 is 2 and things like that. Supposing you have gone to the 5th grade or so, this 1 + 1 is 2. That kind of an exercise for you has become as though unimportant to you. It is unimportant. It's you know that. Like dear Shankaracharya said, for a wise person, 1 + 5 is 5. No, 1 + 5 is 1. That 5 is what? That adhishtanam tadha karta karanam cha pradhagvidam vividhascha pradhak cheshta daivam jevatra panchamam. These are the 5 causes for any particular action. These are the 5, and he the Atma. And for a jnani, he the Atma, plus this 5, 1 + 5 is only 1 for him. Like that adhishtanam tada kata, all those causes for action, they become as though badhita. They're badhita. They're negatable, sublated, of no useful purpose at all for him. Not that he will not be involved in action, he does. With the bhavana, aham na kinchit karomi iti tattvavitu manyeta. That is it. Okay.
They all become the Gauna Pratyaya.
Correct.
Okay.
No. For the jnani, it becomes all this become mithya pratyaya. For the jnani.
No, when he says the body is doing this, that is the Gauna Pratyaya, because he is
Correct. Very right.
I think Nanaji, from Gauna Pratyaya, we have to come to Mithya Pratyaya.
Correct.
That is what,
Correct.
okay. Means, see, I
That
am
is-
Suresh. I am Suresh. But actually, I am not Suresh. So it is Gauna Pratyaya.
Suresh ji, it depends on where you have started.
Yeah.
You go from the Midya Pratyaya to Gauna Pratyaya.
Yeah.
See, for people like us, we're all ajnanis. For us, the body identification. Who are you? I am the body. I'm 5 feet, some 9 inches tall, and I'm of some brown complexion, etc. All these things are not Gauna Pratyaya as far as we are concerned. As far as Jnani is concerned, it is a Mithya Pratyaya. Supposing tomorrow you have become a Brahmajnani. Brahmajnani. If you see in the 5th chapter, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. For that person, Samadarshinaha, he can say my cow, my dog, etc. That becomes a Gauna Pratyaya for him. But for us, supposing we are in his shoes without knowledge, it becomes Mithya Pratyaya. It depends on from what angle you are looking at.
You see. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nanaji.
Okay, thank you. Has Mr. Vijay come?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, go forward.
Atma is not a karta even by its near presence, because all actions take place in its presence. Atma becomes a karta. Purva Pakshi's objection. Now another objection is raised. The objector here accepts that Atma performs no action, that actionlessness is the nature of the Atma. He says that even though in itself it does not undergo any change in order to do an action, by its mere presence alone, the body, mind, sense complex performs action. That is as good as the Atma performing the actions. There are different types of agencies, kartritva. Either you yourself do the action, or you make another person do it. Or by your simple presence, you make another person act. Here, he is saying that by its mere presence, Atma performs action. That is, the Atma has agency, kartritva, because without its presence, there cannot be an action by the body, mind, and senses. This type of agency is primary, mukhya. If that is the case, he will have to admit that it cannot be considered secondary, gauna. He gives some examples of this type of agency. Just because of his presence, the king is said to be engaged in the battle when his soldiers are fighting, even though he does not fight at all. Even though the king is sitting in his own chamber with a glass in his hand, people say that the king is fighting. He does not fight at all, but because of his presence, all the fighting takes place. Not only that, just because of his presence, it is said that he is defeated or victorious. He does not perform any action, but who gets defeated? The king alone gets defeated. Who has gained victory? Again, the king. It is the same for the commander-in-chief, the leader of the army. He also does not do any fighting. He sits there in the control tower and goes on asking the infantry units to go and fight. By his orders alone, he also gets things done when he himself does no fighting at all. But he and the king are the ones who are going to get all the praise if there is victory, and who are going to be imprisoned if there is a defeat. The results of the action all come to them, even though they perform no action. Even in Vedic rituals, it is the same. The one who makes the sankalpa, I perform the karma actually does not actually do the karma. The officiating priests, the Ritviks, do all the ritualistic activities, while the one who is having the ritual done, the Yajamana, sits there performing no action at all. Even though he performs no action, all the results of the ritual go to him. Similarly, even though the body, etc., does the action, while Atma itself performs no action, like the Yajamana, the king, and the general, still the action is imputed to the Atma, and the results also go to the Atma. Therefore, Atma has primary agency, Mukhya Kartritva. And Atma alone is subject to the results of action, such as Punya and Papa, which is translated into Sukha and Dukkha. Then, he is not totally happy with the examples he has given, because the king is a prompter of the action. Even though the king does not directly engage himself in action, there is some kind of activity on his part. Therefore, he gives another example. The Atma is like a magnet which makes the iron filings active in its presence. The magnet sits in one place without undergoing any change and performing no action, and all the iron particles line up. Similarly, Atma by its presence makes the mind, senses, and body all active. Therefore, though it does not undergo any change, because it causes the activity, it is the primary agent, Mukhya Karta. To say that Atma performs no action and at the same time is the primary agent is a contradiction, Vedanti's refutation. Shankara says that is not true. If Atma does not perform any action and at the same time is the primary agent, which is an accessory to action, Karaka, that is a contradiction. Kartritva is of many types, Purva Pakshi's explanation. The opponent answers that there are different types of agents, like the king who, while not doing any action himself, causes action to be done. The contradiction comes only when the action is done by the king. We both accept that Atma does not undergo any change, but that does not mean it has no agency, Kartritva, he argues. Not changing does not eliminate doership on the part of the Atma, because without changing, doership is also possible, as we see in the king. The examples themselves are wrong, Shankara's reply. Shankara now points out the problem with this example. It is not true that the king performs no action. Kings do enter into battle, as did Rama. Similarly, the commanders-in-chief engage in fighting. There, they are all primary agents. Even if the king does not enter into the fight, that does not mean that he does not fight. In fact, he is the one who decides to fight and then gives the orders to fight. Even the commander-in-chief fights by giving orders. These are all actions. They have direct doership because they give the orders. The king alone is responsible for the fight. It is not the soldiers that make the decision to fight, but the king. Then again, he is the one who distributes the salaries for all of them. The fighters are not doing a voluntary job. The king gives money to all of them to fight and provides them with all the ammunition. He is a primary agent in the battle. So too, the experience of the result of the war, victory or defeat, both belong to the king as they do to the commander-in-chief. The same is true for the Yajamana. He is the one who performs the main homa, who does the final oblation, etc. By doing that and by making the sankalpa, as well as by giving dakshina, he is definitely the primary agent, Mukhya Karta, in the ritual. Then too, the result of the ritual goes only to him. Therefore, these examples have no meaning here. The kartritva of the actionless Atma can only be figurative and never real, Shankara's reply. Therefore, if there is doership for the Atma, it is not real. It is only secondary, gauna. The mention of doership is only figurative and upachara because Atma performs no action at all, unlike the king. Even when we say that Atma performs every action by its mere presence, we do not impute any kind of doership to the Atma. In fact, this argument of all actions occurring in the mere presence of Atma is only to prove that Atma performs no action. The fact that its mere presence makes everything active does not mean that it performs any action. Mention of agency is purely a figure of speech. On the other hand, it is not true that there is no direct doership for the king, implying some kind of activity. You cannot say that merely by its presence, activity occurs. It is not like the magnet making the iron filings move by its presence. The magnet performs no action at all. It has no doership. Similarly, Atma, by its mere presence, makes the mind, senses, etc. active, but itself performs no action. Any activity that is imputed to the Atma will become figurative, upachara or gauna. When you say, I see, I hear, I do, Atma pashyati, Atma shrunoti, Atma karoti, it is purely a figure of speech, not real. Lastly, Shankara accepts this. If Atma is not a karta, it is not a bhokta also. That being so, when the doership is only a figure of speech, then the result is for whom? The result is also a figure of speech. The connection to the results of karma, the punya and papa that manifest as sukha and dukkha can only be figurative, gauna, not real, mukhya. Since Atma itself performs no action, it is not accountable for the karma and is not going to be the recipient of the result of the karma. A figurative doer is not going to perform a real karma. Therefore, it is not true that the changeless self is an agent and an enjoyer through the activities of the body, mind, and senses. To say that Atma is changeless and at the same time is a doer and enjoyer is a contradiction. Because samsara is due to delusion born of ignorance, total removal of samsara is possible through jnana alone. When the cause is delusion, everything is possible. All the questions have been answered. Now at the end, Shankara says that when the cause is delusion, Bhranti, everything is possible. The Atma, even though not a karta, becomes a karta. When the body-mind-sense complex is mistaken for the Atma due to ignorance, then there is an erroneous notion that Atma is the karta. It is all possible, just like in a dream or in a magic show. What is not there appears to be there. It seems as though there are many, though there are not many at all. There is only you. It seems as though you are a karta, though you are not doing anything at all. Similarly here, Atma, without being the karta, appears to be a karta. Without being an enjoyer, bhokta, appears to be a bhokta. And in spite of the Atma being non-dual, the duality of the seer seen is apparent. Everything is possible. Without creation, there is creation. Without sustenance, there is sustenance. Without dissolution, there is dissolution. There is no samsara in situations where there is no delusion. And again, in situations like deep sleep or samadhi, where there is no continuity of the false I notion in the body, mind, sense complex, there is no sense of doership or enjoyership. But Nana, in this deep sleep, there is that sense of enjoyership. That is why you get out of deep sleep and say, I experienced, I do not know what happened. Kimapi na jana. Sukhena maya nidra anubhuyata. He enjoys, isn't it?
Yeah, but as long as you are in deep sleep state, are you aware that you are enjoying? You,
No.
as a kata, are you aware that you are enjoying? If you are aware you are enjoying, there is a division there. There is a division. You are enjoying. What you are enjoying is different from you, the enjoyer. There is a bhokta who is different from what he is indulging in. So the Dvaita Bhavana will come. And because of that, your experience will be not as good as you would expect it to be on waking up. On waking up only, your memory tells you, you had enjoyed that, but you are not aware that you are enjoying. You understand? It is true that you have enjoyed, but you are not aware of that fact.
Right.
Aham kimapi na janami iti jagrat samaye aham janami. I did not know anything then. Iti jagrat samaye aham janami. Because if you are aware that you are enjoying, then the mind is to an extent active. When it is active, well, the enjoyment is stunted. It is not as good. It is almost a pure ignorance that is playing there. The same happiness Jnani also will have all the time, I believe. Only thing is, it is not through Ajnana, it is through Jnana. That is the difference.
Okay.
So while sleeping, we don't know we are sleeping.
Yeah, very
We
right.
are in that. That is what.
Very right. We don't know.
No. So we don't know. Only when we wake up,
yeah,
then that Ajnana comes. Oh, I had a. Okay, good.
If we knew, it is either going to be a Jagrada Avastha or Swapna Avastha, not the Sushupti Avastha at all. The moment we are aware of what we are doing, it is either of these two avasthas, not the Sushupti Avastha.
Right.
Okay, Brahmara.
Okay. And again, in situations like deep sleep or samadhi, where there is no continuity of the false I notion in the body, mind, sense complex, there is no sense of doership or enjoyership. Therefore, this samsara in the form of kartritva and bhoktritva is entirely due to bhranti pratyaya, delusion alone, and therefore it is not real. Once there is a fundamental mistake and that is taken into account, afterwards everything is logical. Once you look upon the Atma as the body, mind, sense complex, everything is possible. Then karma becomes important. There is dharma and adharma, punya papa, karma yoga, antakarna shuddhi, and sannyasa. Everything becomes meaningful. It is this delusion, this mistaken notion of the self as the body, mind, etc., that is responsible for all that is undesirable, what we call samsara. It begins with the mistaken identification of I as the mind. Then there is identification through the subtle body with the whole physical body. Now there is the duality of jnata, the knower, jnana, the means of knowledge, jnaya, object of knowledge, and the duality of jiva, jagat, and ishvara.
Hari Om.
Samsara.
Hari Om Ramara.
Yes,
What you
ma'am.
were asking earlier regarding deep sleep state,
Ah,
that is answered here by these sentences.
right.
There is no division of jnata, jnana and jnaya vastu.
Mm.
The jnaya vastu, that happiness you are enjoying is the jnaya vastu. And who is enjoying? You, the jnata. And what with what are you enjoying? Because of the sushupti avastha. That becomes as though the pramana for you to enjoy. These three are as though merged into one another. When they are merged into one another, you did not know. You as the jnata is absent. And the jnaya, you have become as though. What you are enjoying, you have become. That is why you do not know. Yeah.
Yeah. Shall I read this paragraph one more time? It is this delusion, this mistaken notion of the self as the body, mind, etc., that is responsible for all that is undesirable, what we call samsara. It begins with the mistaken identification of I as the mind. Then there is identification through the subtle body with the whole physical body. Now there is the duality of jnata, the knower, jnana, the means of knowledge, jnaya, object of knowledge, and the duality of jiva, jagat, and ishvara. This is samsara.
While on this, Brahmara, while we talked of the deep sleep state, you can talk of the dream state also, the swapnavastha also. You, the swapnavastha, Yajamani, you are the Tejasa. You are the Tejasa. You are the one who is brilliant. And you are Brahmaji for all that you have created in the swapnavastha. Now, you, the Tejasa fellow, does he know where he is sleeping? Does he know? He doesn't know. Is it not?
No.
He may be Bhutalavasaha also. Just under the shade of a tree, he may be sleeping, but he is dreaming. When he is dreaming, he does not know his Jagradavastha belongings. He does not know at all. Does he know his name? The dreamer, does he know his name?
No.
I dreamt a number of times, but I never recollect that I was dreaming.
Mm.
I, Sijara, was dreaming, I never knew. Somebody was dreaming, that Tejasa was dreaming. That brilliant fellow in me, in the Swapnavastha, he is capable of creating a myriad things and giving life to them. That is the beauty. You are giving life to them. You are making them animate and making them converse with you, making them play with you. All these things you do, but you do not know that you, as the Jagradavastha Yajamani, what you are, you don't know. Then when this is the case, what to speak of the Yajamani in the deep sleep state? He simply does not know at all. It is like anesthesia for him. He does not know. Yep.
Right. So just like in the creation, in the previous para, it was said, everything is possible. With creation is there without creation. Without sustenance, there is sustenance. And without dissolution, there is dissolution.
Yes.
Similar to what happens in a dream.
Yes. Very right. Was there creation? There is creation without creation. Was that the set of people you have created in the dream state? They're sustained by who? You are the Vishnu who sustained all of them. Did you really sustain them? If you have sustained them, can you show them to me also? Because you seem to have a very high regard for all those people you have created, you conversed with, and there was a lot of exchange of great ideas. all these you on waking up, you tell me, can I also participate with them? Because you are the sustainer? No. While sustaining, there is no sustenance. And is it dissolved? All your creation, is it dissolved? It was not dissolved during the Swapna Avastha. On waking up, on another Avastha, it is as though dissolved. Neither was it created in the first place for it to be sustained or dissolved later. Yeah.
It is just like a magic. Hello?
Magic.
Magic, yes.
Very right.
There is nothing was there and it was there.
Right.
The flower was there, it became.
That is why a lot of acharyas give this example that Mayavi, the magic, the one who creates illusion in all of us. There may be 1,000 people watching the magic. In all the 1,000 people, he creates that illusion, my God. You do not require a Kitappa for creating illusion in your mind. One Mayavi will do. That is why great acharyas have drawn a lot of input from this Mayavi.
Yesterday, I was attending a marriage. I was telling everyone is coming and doing everything. I was also a part of it. I was just thinking that way. It was just like magic. Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, the beauty is this Mayavi, the one who creates magic and illusion in all our minds. He is not deluded. See the beauty of that. He knows that he is only making a make-believe situation, which does not delude him at all. He can withdraw at will whatever he is doing. He can recreate the same thing again and again. You and I cannot do. That is a kind of an art. Yeah. That kind of a thing Kitappa has shown to Arjuna in the 11th chapter. Is it not? Mahayogeshwaro Harihi. Darshayamasa Bhuya. He has Paramam Rupamaishwaram. Aneka Vaktranayanam, Aneka Adbhuta Darshanam, Aneka Divya Bharanam, Divya Aneka Yatayudham, Divya Malyambaradharam, Divya Gandhanulepanam. All these, my God, he has shown. He has occupied the entire firmament, I believe. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhaved Yugapadituta, as though that there in the space, thousands of suns simultaneously have arisen in the sky. The brilliance of that Kitappa was like that, I believe. Is it not Maya? Is not Kitappa the Mayavi, greatest Mayavi?
Yes.
And Kitappa says, do you see what you have seen, Arjuna, by your good nature, by your bhakti, because you are my Sakha, etc. Others do not see at all. Devaha nityam darshana kankshinaha. The Devas would like to see this every day. That is the Mayavi. Okay.
Yeah. And there is the total resolution of samsara, implying the resolution of the duality of the individual, the world, and God. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, in the wake of knowledge. That total resolution is moksha. Thus, it is established that moksha is by knowledge. Giving up all karmas is purely by knowledge. If you take to this Atma, giving up all karmas, sarva dharman parityajya, I will release you from all papa and punya. Who is this I? It is Atma, the innermost self, the self of all, the Paramatma. Recognition of this Atma, the real nature of the Lord, and the individual Jiva is the release. In this chapter, the entire Gita Shastra is being summed up. And in the previous two verses, it was again briefly summed up. In one verse, Karma Yoga was mentioned, and in another, Jnana Karma Sannyasa, renunciation of all actions by knowledge. Sarva Dharman Parityajya.
What is being mentioned is the verses 65 and 66.
Yeah.
65 saying, Manmana bhava madbhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuru. 66 saying, Sarva dharman parityajya, etc. These two are the verses in question here.
Yeah. Teaching Sampradaya Vidhi. Here at the end of the Shastra, it is a Sampradaya Vidhi, a rule to be observed by the person who teaches the Shastra and knows the tradition of teaching. Sampradaya Vidhi. To whom should that person give this teaching? This is told in the next verse.
Hari Om Ramara.
Yes,
Now
sir.
we have covered all this, but I would suggest we'll recover this ground from 67 verse till the 72nd verse. We will cover that. Afterwards, if you confirm to me that you have either done the introductory PDF or not, we will take up that and then continue from verse 73 onwards till the end. Afterwards, the Gita Shastram will become Sampurnam, right?
Okay.
That's how we will try to do that. I will say, even if you have done the introductory things earlier during your Manana session, if you think it is good to have a rereading, so be it.
Of course,
So
we
be it.
need to do that, because when we were doing that itself, we thought it has to be revisited again.
Okay,
So,
we will visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what I suggest you do is, you have used up 43 minutes. All right. You do the chanting of the sloka and go to the Tatparya and then the commentary.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like that you do for 1 or 2 verses and leave the field to me later.
Okay.
Okay.
Vijayji is here. Do you want to ask your question, Vijayji?
Yeah.
No, it's fine, Brahmaraji. I got the answer. It's fine.
Hari Om. You got the answers?
Dhanyawad.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Continue, Brahmara.
Idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrusha vacham na cha mamyobhyasuyati. This teaching which has been taught to you is never to be taught to the one who has no religious discipline, nor to the one who has no devotion, nor to the one who is not willing to listen, nor to the one who finds fault with me, where there is none. Alternate?
That is Asuya.
Asuya, yeah.
That is that Asuya. Finding fault when there is merit. The merit is as though subdued, and you have found out only fault. That is Asuya. Irsya is different. Irsya is you are okay till your neighbor has acquired something which you did not have. That is when Irsya begins. Okay? Yeah. In English, that is called jealousy. Yeah.
The alternative is, this teaching given to you is never to be taught by you to one who has no religious discipline, nor to one who has no devotion, nor to one who is not willing to listen, nor to one who finds fault with me where there is none. This idam here refers to the Gita Shastra, beginning with, you are grieving for no reason. Ashocyan anvashochastvam. And ending with do not grieve. Ma shuchaha. The entire Gita Shastra that has been taught, we have to add the word yuktam here. Bhagavan says to you, te is not to be taught, na vachyam, to certain people. By saying to whom it is not to be taught, he says by implication, to whom it is to be given. Shankara adds that it is told, ukta, for your benefit, tava hitaya. We also have to add tvaya, by you. It is not to be taught, na vachyam. Although this is addressed to Arjuna, we can extend it to include all those who know the Shastra. Shankara explains that it is for your benefit, tava hitaya, because it destroys samsara. Thus, the Gita is a moksha shastra, unlike the Karma Kanda, which cannot be directly a moksha shastra, though it is connected, because knowledge of Brahman is not taught there as a rule. Even though here and there we can find mantras in it talking about the reality of the Atma and Ishvara, that is not what is directly taught there. What is taught there is the various means and ends, sadhana sadhya, to fulfill various desires for dharma, artha and kama. The fourth purushartha, moksha, is not the value that is kept in view as it is in Vedanta. That is why we separate the Veda into the Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Whereas, if we look at Bhagavad Gita, as early as the second chapter, Lord Krishna has said that all the Vedas have as their subject matter things that are characterized by the three gunas, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, and urges Arjuna to be free from the three gunas, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. That is moksha, going away from all the three gunas. If you have moksha as the main goal, your mind is set on one thing. There is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, and all other goals subserve that main goal, and your life becomes Karma Yoga. Therefore, Karma Yoga is possible only for a person who wants moksha, a mumukshu. If one has not discerned that moksha is the human goal, there is only karma, not Karma Yoga. And the ends are going to be manifold. In other words, if you do not choose the limitless as the end, the desires will be limitless. Thus, this Gita Shastra should only be given to certain people and not to others. To whom should it not be given? To one who has no religious discipline. To whom should it not be given? To the person who has no religious discipline. Atapaskaya, which would include those who have no intellectual discipline. Amedhavis. These are generally said together. Tapas is also considered to be knowledge or the pursuit of knowledge. Bhrigu is told by his father in the Taittiriya Upanishad, by tapas may you understand Brahman. Tapasa Brahma Vijijñāsasva. There, tapas is purely inquiry. But here we can say that the one who has tapas has a commitment and is ready to put forth effort to equip himself for this knowledge. To the one who does not have this atapaskaya, it is not to be given. To one who has no devotion. Further, this teaching should not be given to the one who has no devotion. Abhaktaya. This devotion should be for both the Guru and the Lord. That means Shraddha and a certain awareness of Ishvara is necessary for moksha. This devotee appreciates the necessity of invoking Ishvara's grace for moksha. Here, the devotee is necessarily the Jignasu Bhakta. As he has devotion to Parameshvara, he also has a commitment to the teacher and the teaching. From this we understand that even if he has a great commitment, tapas, for this knowledge, but has no devotion, this knowledge is not to be given to him. When should the teaching not be given to such people? Bhagavan says, na kadachana, never, for emphasis. Shankara says that it should not be given under any condition, that is, not even under duress. What does duress mean? Under
Duress is like you are compelled into giving the teaching.
at gunpoint, kind of.
At the point. Okay, like a king demands. You have to come out with the Vedanta knowledge. I believe you are a great Pandit and you are a Jnani. I want to attain to all that Jnana that you have got. I command you, you shall not teach him, that kind of a person. Under duress. This is to be taught to whom you know? To putraya, sishyaya. Aputraya, asishyaya, atirahasyam na bhaktavyam. This is the Veda Vakya. For the one who is not equivalent to a son or not equivalent to a Sishya, this atirahasyam, which is Vedanta rahasyam, na bhaktavyam, it should not be revealed, because they will amply misunderstand that and keep on circulating that. And your name also will be tainted. You know, how can you say what I am saying is wrong? This I have picked up from so-and-so Acharya. That is how you are also dragged into the quagmire. That is why you should never teach, even under duress. If you don't teach, I will kill you. Okay, go ahead, kill. Kittappa told me not to teach you, so I will not teach. That's all. That is the Shraddha in the Kittappa Vakya.
So this is how I think the knowledge in chapter 4, when Bhagavan says, in the course of time, this knowledge got diluted and it got lost, and I have to tell you again. Does that make sense here?
Yes, it does. And not only that, towards the end of the 4th chapter, he said what? Pranipatena, pariprashnena, sevaya, upadekshanti te jnanam, jnaninaha, tattvadarshinaha. That jnaninaha must have enough confidence in you that you are indeed a very deserving student for this Atma Vidya. And that will be amply made evident to the Guru by your pranipatena, pariprashnena. Hey Guru, ka bandaha, what is bondage? Ka muktihi, kaha jivaha, ko ishvaraha. These are all the questions. When you raise, the teacher understands, hey, this fellow has evolved to an extent. He really is interested in knowing the truth. And then the teaching will start. Yeah.
When should the teaching not be given to such people? Bhagavan says, na kadachana, never, for emphasis. Shankara says that it should not be given under any condition, that is, not even under duress. If someone knows the Shastra and does not follow the Sampradaya, and if he teaches, the student may not get the benefit of the Shastra. Therefore, saying this, that is, in laying down the rules on who should be taught, he is given the tradition, Sampradaya. To one who has no interest to listen, then again, it should not be told to the one who has no desire to listen. Ashushrushave. Even if such a person goes to the class, his mind will be elsewhere, or he will sleep. The one who has a desire to listen, Shrotum Ichuhu, is a Shushrushu. He has a great love for listening to the Shastra and is committed to it. He alone should be taught, not the one who is indifferent. And there is a rule for the teacher that he should not teach unless this knowledge is specifically asked for. Na apratishta kasyachit bruyat. Kasyachit bruyat. That means unless a person asks for this knowledge should not be given.
Bhamara, can you read that Sanskrit again?
Yes. Na
Aprishtaha.
sorry.
Aprishtaha.
Aprishtaha.
Prishtaha means,
The
Prishtaha
one
means
does not
who
ask.
is asked. Aprishtaha.
Na aprishtaha kasyachit bruyat.
Yeah.
That means unless a person asks for this knowledge should not be given.
Aprishtaha means what? Nanaji?
One who does not ask.
Prishta is one who is a questioner, one who is asking.
Oh.
Who is asking? Aprishtaha means one who has not asked at all. Now, sometimes it happens. Pardon my saying so. Supposing we're all, you know, in a way graduate to some level of understanding of Atma Vidya. Now, in our exuberance, we want to share what little we have known to somebody else. And you call that somebody else. And that somebody else is what? Asusroshave. He has no interest in listening to you at all, least of all on Atma Vidya. Then you call him, hey, this is very important. You will benefit from this. Sit down, I'll tell you. For 1/2 an hour, you sit down and you keep on telling. That is up. He is not Prushtaha. He is not a Prushtaha person. He has not asked you anything. And you are only as though under duress he is made to listen. And you know what? He will not appreciate what you are saying. Number one. Number two, unless in any kind of a dialogue, like the Vedanta dialogue, etc., if the listener is not active, if the listener is not attentive, then the speaker also will become so. That is why in the 7th chapter, I think, Bhagavan says, the bhaktas who relate themselves to me, what do? Machittaha, madgata pranaha, bodhayanta parasparam, kadhayantasya mam nityam, tushyanticha, ramanticha. They will be highly elated. Tushyanticha, they will be very well compensated by that kind of an enjoyment. Tushyanticha, ramanticha. They will revel in keeping on talking about me and my gadhas. Machitta, madgata prana, those kind of people are required. For the speaker, there is a good listener that is required. If the speaker may be very good, but if the listener is so, then speaker's talent also is as though stunted. Because unless the questions emanate from the listener, the speaker will not have adequate clarity regarding what he is talking. Both are important. Okay.
Okay, Nana. Oh, thank you.
That means unless a person asks for this knowledge should not be given. Even though Bhrigu was Varuna's son, he had to ask for this knowledge. And Varuna did not give it to him until he asked. Therefore, one must be a susrushu. That is, one should have a love to sit in the class and listen. To one who finds fault with Krishna, to whom else should this not be given? It should not be given to one who finds fault with the Gita or Krishna. One may look upon Krishna as arrogant, for instance, because he says, Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti. There is no one other than or superior to me. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. You should come to me alone. Mai avyabhicharini bhaktihi. A devotion to me that is unswerving. Manmana bhava. Be one whose mind is in me. Madbhakto bhava. Be my devotee. Madhyaji bhava. Do all rituals for me. Mam namaskuru. Salute me. There are many more expressions like this in the Gita. If a person uses the first person too much, people can think that he is arrogant. But here, Krishna talks as Ishvara. And if he is viewed as Ishvara, the teaching becomes effective. While anyone who knows and teaches the Shastra is a Shastravit, Krishna is Shastrakrit, being the one who is the author and the revealer of the Shastra. If one looks upon the Gita Shastra as coming straight from the Lord, then the Shraddha is different and it blesses the person. If on the other hand, one finds fault with Krishna when there is no fault, that is Asuya, Guneshu Dosha Darshana, when Bhagavan is the one who has all the virtues in absolute measure, Sarva Gunavan, to find fault there is seeing a defect where there are only virtues. Shankara says that the person who does find fault does not know that Krishna is Ishvara. Such a person who has Asuya is not to be taught. Why? Because with such an attitude, the teaching will not be fruitful. Who can receive it? In describing the one to whom this teaching is not to be given, the one to whom it is to be given becomes evident. The one who has religious discipline, devotion, a keen desire to listen, and does not find fault with the teacher is to be taught. The result of this teaching. Now, when one teaches following the tradition, Sampradaya, what is the result for that teacher? Ya imam paramam guhyam madbhakteshvabhidhasyati bhaktim mai param kritva mame vaishyatya samshayaha.
Now, would you like to relax?
No, I will read this, Nana.
Okay.
The one who teaches this most exalted secret Shastra to my devotees, having offered the highest devotion to me, will come to me alone. There is no doubt. The benefit for the teacher. When he says, Yaha Abhidasyati, the one who teaches, we understand that this applies not only to Arjuna, but to whomsoever one teaches the Shastra. This Shastra is considered the most exalted, Parama, because understanding its subject matter will give moksha. And this teaching, which is in the form of a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, is most sacred and secret, Guhya. Why is it to be kept a secret? It may damage a person who does not need it and is not ready for it. A simple devotee, if he is told that he is Bhagavan, he may give up his devotion and may not gain knowledge and be worse off than he was before being exposed to this teaching. Thus, this knowledge must be taught only to the person who is ready for it. Therefore, it is a secret. More than that, it gives the Parama Purushartha, and therefore, being the most valuable, it should be given only to the person who has a proper value for it. Otherwise, it will not work. Further, it is the most secret because it is not available for other means of knowledge, pramana, like perception. And also, it is the nature of oneself, the very seeker who is looking for a solution. His very seeking keeps it hidden because the seeker is the Atma that is sought. Even if it is taught, if the person does not have the proper qualifications, the teaching will not convey anything and thus remains a secret. And if a person is oriented towards employing means and achieving ends, the teaching will remain a secret because here there is no means and no end. There is only knowing the self, which is so subtle, ati sukshma, that it is not available for objectification, but is revealed through the implied meaning, lakshyartha, of the words of the Shastra. Thus, it is guhya. To whom is the teaching given? To my devotees, madbhakteshu, the devotees of Parameshwara. Generally, devotees are committed to security and pleasure, artha and kama, and take the Lord's help to achieve those ends. But here, the devotees want the knowledge of Parameshwara. They do not want anything less than that. They go to Parameshwara not to get something from Parameshwara, but to get Parameshwara. They are Jignasus, and their only goal is moksha, and they are therefore Jignasu Bhaktas. Such persons are fit to be given this knowledge. By saying that these devotees are the ones to whom this teaching is given, Krishna is emphasizing the importance of bhakti here. Even though one has to have discipline, tapas, and be one who is eager to listen to the Shastra, the Sushrushu, the importance of Ishvara Bhakti is pointed out here. One who teaches the Gita is a great Bhakta. Then Krishna says here that the one who is teaching this knowledge is doing the highest form of devotion to me. Bhaktim Mai Param. When he is teaching, he is revealing Bhagwan, and that is his service to Bhagwan. To do that, he has to understand Bhagwan, and thus he is a Jnani, whom Bhagwan has equated to himself. Jnani to Atmaiva. That is Parama Bhakti, because between the Lord and the devotee, there is no longer any difference. When the subject matter of this knowledge is Bhagavan, and the fact that all that is here is Bhagavan, the teacher who is teaching this knowledge is not separate from Bhagavan. Because of his knowledge, the ego is resolved. And when he teaches, it is as if Sakshat Bhagavan is teaching. Having achieved identity with Parameshwara, he is a Jnani Bhakta. And by teaching, he continues to serve Parameshwara. What happens to him? He reaches me alone. Mam eva eshyati. In this life, he is liberated. He is Jivan Mukta. If he has any problem with Nishta in this knowledge, he gains it by teaching. Since the nature of Ishvara and the nature of Jiva is one, in this life itself, he has recognized that he is not separate from Parameshwara. Secondly, he reaches Parameshwara after death also, because when the prarabdha karma is exhausted, there is only Parameshwara. There are many types of devotees, some doing puja, some doing other rituals, and so on. But even though here there is no substance, dravya or fire, among all the devotees, there is no one who is more dear to Krishna than the one who is teaching this knowledge. Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priyakrittamaha bhavita nacha me tasmad anya priyataro bhuvi.
When will you relax, man?
After I finish this. And there is no one other than him who is the best among men who do what is dear to me. And there will not be another dearer to me than him on the earth. You know, as I'm reading this, Nana, I'm feeling so very fulfilled.
Okay, very good. Continue.
None is or will be dearer to me than the Bhakta who is a Jnani. Among all devotees, there is no other devotee who is dearer to Bhagavan. Why? The one who knows me is myself. Jnani tu Atmaiva. The self is the most beloved, its nature being limitlessness, Ananda, which experientially is happiness. That is the object of anybody's love. The person who knows Atma is teaching Ananda Swarupa, and he is not separate from Ananda Swarupa. Thus, there is no one dearer than the one who teaches this knowledge. Perhaps now there is no one, but the future generation may produce a better devotee. No, in the future, on this earth, there is no one who is going to be more beloved than him. The word cha here can be used to connect the current and the future. Or it may indicate that there never was a bhakta more beloved than this. That is, neither in the past, nor in the present, nor in the future. Thus concluding, Bhagavan himself says that the one who teaches this knowledge is the most beloved to him. Further, the one who studies this or even just repeats the verses of the Gita is praised here. Adhyeshyate cha ya imam dharmyam samvadamavayoho jnana yajnena tenaham ishtasyamiti me matihi. And the one who studies or recites this dialogue of ours that is unopposed to dharma, through that ritual in the form of knowledge, I would be worshipped. This is my conclusion. One who studies the Gita worships me through Jnana Yajna. In this verse, the one who studies or recites this dialogue, wherein the knowledge of Brahman, Brahma Vidya, and Karma Yoga are discussed, is praised. The dialogue, Samvada, has its subject matter Dharma and is therefore Dharmya, unopposed to Dharma. Here, Dharma can be taken relatively and also absolutely. In a relative sense, this discussion deals with Dharma as Karma Yoga. In the absolute sense, it gives the knowledge of Brahman. By the person who studies this dialogue, Bhagavan says here, I am invoked, I am worshipped. How? He is only studying the Gita, but then he is worshipping Ishvara by the ritual of knowledge. Jnana yajnena aham ishtaha. Any form of ritual yajna is worship. Here, it is not a ritual in which materials are offered, dravya yajna, nor of religious austerities, tapo yajna, nor mantra recitation, japa yajna, but worship through the ritual in the form of knowledge, jnana yajna. Shankara mentions 4 types of rituals here. They are vidhi yajna, a ritual that is enjoined by the Veda and involves materials, fire, etc. Japa yajna, a ritual in the form of oral recitation of a mantra. Upamsu yajna, again a ritual in the form of a recitation of a mantra, with the difference that it is chanted very softly, barely audible. And finally, Manasa yajna, a ritual in the form of a purely mental recitation of a mantra. Among these, the mental...
If you recollect, Hari Om, if you recollect 4th chapter, Bhagavan said, Dravya yajnas, tapo yajnas, jnana yajna parantapa, sarvam karma khilam pardha, jnane parisamapyate. Sarvam akhilam karma, the entire all karmas, they end up in jnana. All karmas are for jnana samupadhyana eva. That should be understood.
Yeah. Among these, the mental ritual, Manasa Yajna, is considered to be the most efficacious. This is because when an action is done physically or orally, the mind can be elsewhere, with the physical or oral action continuing mechanically. On the other hand, when the mind alone is doing an action, if the mind goes away, then the action also stops. Then one comes to know that the mind has gone away and can bring the mind back and the action can continue. Here too, the study of this dialogue in the Gita is a ritual in the form of knowledge. Naturally, it is purely mental, that is cognitive, and because of that, it is considered most efficacious. Shankara adds that even if you do not study the Gita, but only recite it, you get a result equivalent to the kind of result you get from a mental ritual, upasana, that has a deity, devata, as its object, vishaya. That is the praise here. We can understand here that the one who studies this Gita is worshipping Ishvara and need not worry that he is not doing other forms of worship. This is a general problem of a lot of people. People want to do bhakti and they feel that they are not doing bhakti, they are only studying. Thus, Ishvara himself says here that even when they study this, they are performing worship. Even though there is no fire or oblation involved, the study of the Shastra also invokes Ishvara because that is the subject matter of the entire Shastra. Previously, Krishna had said that there are 4 types of devotees. First is the one in distress, Artha, the one who takes the help of Bhagavan for his accomplishments. Artharthi is the second. Then there is the one who wants to know, Ishvara, Jignasu. What does he do? He studies the Shastra. He is a devotee in Krishna's own words. This is his form of worship. Finally, there is the one who knows Ishvara, the Jnani, the fulfilled devotee who is the dearest to Ishvara because he is no longer separate from Ishvara. Thus, the pursuit of knowledge of Ishvara is also a yajna. By that ritual in the form of knowledge, I would be worshipped. This is my conclusion. Jnana yajnena aham ishtaha syam iti me matihi. Lord Krishna says here, praising the person who studies the Gita. At the end of the Shastra, generally, the result of listening to that Shastra, the Phalashruti is told. It is called praise.
Brahmara,
Yes,
the word
Nana.
here, Jnana Yajnena Aham Ishtaha. This Ishtaha means, it does not simply mean this is what I like. No, it is only highlighting the Ishti, the religious ritual mentioned in the Shastra, in the Karma Kanda, Ishti. Yajnam, Yagam, Ishti. Okay, that Ishti is a kind of a ritual. Aham Ishtaha. I am worshipped through that kind of a ritual. That is the meaning.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the Shastra, generally the result of listening to that Shastra, the Phalashruti is told. It is called praise, prashamsa of the Shastra. This is the style of the traditional literature. Having praised the person who studies or recites this dialogue, Bhagavan now praises the result for the one who listens to the Gita Shastra. Shraddha vananasuyascha shrunuyadapi yo naraha sopi mukta shubha lokan prapnuyat punya karmana. The person who has trust in the Shastra and who does not find fault with the Shastra, even if he merely listens to the Gita, even he, being liberated, would gain the auspicious worlds of those who do good karmas. Benefit of listening to the Gita. The person under discussion here who listens to the Gita.
Hari-om.
Yes.
Yeah, as though Bhagavan is giving you some conflicting information here. The person who has trust in the Shastra and who does not find fault with the Shastra or me, even if he merely listens to the Gita, even he being liberated. What does it mean? If he is already a jnani, being liberated means what? He has acquired freedom, freedom from bondage. Being liberated would gain the auspicious worlds of those who do good karmas. Then why does he have to worry about gaining some other worlds like Swargaloka, etc.? There is as though some contradiction here. What
Right.
it means is what Bhagavan says, even he being liberated from his notions. Notions of what? The Midhya Prachaya notions. All those things he is liberated. He is not yet a jnani. But as he keeps on worshipping me in this way, if he calls it a day, then he will gain punya lokas. Afterwards, he will recontinue where he has left, like it was mentioned in the 6th chapter. Purva bhyasena tenaiva priyatehi avashopi saha. Jignasurapi yogasya Shabda Brahmati Vartate. These are the things to be understood cleanly. Even he being liberated, when he is liberated, where are the lokas for him? That should be understood. Yeah.
So here liberation means death, basically.
He is a full-fledged karma yogi. Liberated means from the notions of the kamakami, he is liberated. Yeah.
He's a mumukshu. Yeah, total mumukshu. Okay. Benefit of listening to the Gita. The person under discussion here who listens to the Gita is one who has Shraddha, the Shraddhavan, who looks upon Krishna not as an individual, but as Parameshwara, the Lord. Further, he does not try to find fault with this Gita Shastra. He is Anasuya. Such a person, even by listening to this Gita Shastra, becomes freed. From what? It all depends. Here Bhagavan says that he would go to those auspicious worlds which are born of Punya Karma. That means he is freed from Papa by simple listening, without even understanding the meaning. Here Shankara says, what to talk of the one who has the knowledge? If he has knowledge, he is totally liberated. Even by listening to the Gita, a lot of Papa gets destroyed for the one who has Shraddha, because these are the words of Bhagavan. Thereby, one can gain an auspicious world, Shubha Loka. This is one thing. Then, suppose he studies the Shastra and understands the meaning. He will gain moksha, liberation from samsara. The Acharya Dharma that Bhagavan shows. Now, as a teacher who wants to know whether Arjuna has understood all that has been taught or not, Krishna asks a question. As a teacher, surely, and again as Ishvara too, he should know whether Arjuna has understood or not. He should know what is going on in his student's mind. Then, why does he ask the question to Arjuna? Therefore, Shankara introduces the verse saying that by asking this question, Bhagavan makes a point here. Suppose Arjuna has not understood the Shastra, then Krishna wants to indicate that he should teach him again. Even though there is nothing more to teach, he can follow some other method and teach the subject matter again. One can always be creative and find some other method to make the person understand. That is the intention of Bhagavan when he asks this question to Arjuna here. It is the teacher's duty to take some other course of action if the student has not understood. The student must necessarily discover that he has found what is to be found. He should feel that he is Kritartha, the one who has achieved what has to be achieved, before the teaching can be considered complete. Thus, this question is recorded to make the point that if the person does not understand, one must teach again using another method. That point is made here. Kaschidetat shrutam partha tvayaiकाग्रेण चेतसा kaschidajnana sammohaha pranashtaste dhananjaya. Has this been listened to you by you, Arjuna, with a single pointed mind? Is your delusion that is caused by ignorance destroyed, Arjuna? Arjuna, did you listen well? Is your delusion gone? Krishna asks Arjuna here, calling him Partha, son of Pritha, Kunti, who was his own beloved aunt. Has the Shastra been listened to you by you? He wants to know. Not only if the Shastra has been listened to, but if it has been listened to properly, that is, with a mind which is single-pointed, that is attentive, ekagrena chetasa. That means only one thing is there at the time of listening. With this qualification, the question therefore means, have you understood? From this we understand that attentiveness is a very important thing in listening. One has to suspend all ideas and prejudices for the time being and just expose oneself to the teaching as it comes. That is what is important. Only what is being taught now is listened to with an attempt to understand, not what was listened to before or what is inside your mind. Those things do come and cloud the listening, creating a problem. That capacity to suspend all one's ideas and just listen to what is being taught is called ekagrata. There is only one subject matter in front of the mind. Not only that, Shankara adds, did you listen without indifference? Then Krishna, addressing Arjuna as Dhananjaya, the winner of laurels, asks the second question, is your delusion gone? In delusion, there is confusion. Things are not seen as they are. Atma is not seen as Atma. Anatma is not seen as Anatma. Between them, there is confusion. Wherever there is delusion, there is confusion. And that confusion is always due to a mix-up between two things. There are two types of delusion. One is at the absolute level, the confusion between Atma and Anatma. And the other is a relative confusion between Dharma and Adharma. Both are born of ignorance, Ajnana. Krishna asks here, if this delusion born of ignorance is destroyed, that means the whole Shastra is meant to destroy delusion. When he asks if Arjuna listened properly, he wants to know if his understanding is such that it has destroyed all the delusion. Shankara says that this delusion is not something we have to create. It is very natural. Swabhavika. This is true even of values. Even though we have an inbuilt knowledge of right and wrong, the value of those values has to be assimilated. For that, one has to initiate the process of assimilation. It is to eliminate both types of delusion that we make effort to listen to the Shastra. The teacher's effort in teaching is also meant to remove the delusion. With this question, Lord Krishna's words are over. The beginning was, you are aggrieved for no reason. Ashocyan anvashochastvam. And at the end of the teaching, he said, do not grieve. Ma shuchaha. The next few verses summed up the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna and end here with the last word spoken by Krishna being Dhananjaya, which means the one who wins all wealth. There are different types of wealth, and spiritual wealth is also called Dhana. Therefore, it is a very auspicious end. Now Arjuna answers Krishna's question. Supposing he had said, you praise sannyasa and then karma yoga. Tell me which one of these two is best. Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punar yogam cha shamsasi. Yat shreyah etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Then Krishna has to start all over again. But here, Arjuna answers Bhagavan's question very positively, and therefore the Gita comes to an end. Arjuna Uvacha. Nashto moha smritir labdha vat prasadan maya chuta stitosmi gata sandehaha karishye vachanam tava. Arjuna said, by your grace, my delusion is gone, and I have gained recognition of myself, Achyuta. I remain as one from whom all doubts have gone. I will do what you say.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Brahmara, you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
do the commentary after we have done the introduction. Okay.
Right.
After that, we'll come back here.
Okay.
Otherwise, when you keep going on, it will come to an end, and we will have to say Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre. That we will postpone for the time being.
Fine.
Till after we have done the introduction.
Okay.
You go through that introduction. Tomorrow you kindly project that. I don't know whether all others will be as well interested. It's a wonderful piece of commentary on the introduction. That is available in the first 3 chapters. Chapters 1, 2, 3, there is an introduction. And towards the end also, it is given that PDF separately is there. You can open that. Okay. Good. Well read. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om, Nana.
Hari Om, everybody.
Hari Om, Nana. Thank you so much.
We have a Jiva
Nanaji,
with us.
You are all a set of blessed people. For so many months, uninterruptedly, you have been attending the Zoom discussion on the Bhagavad Gita. It's a tremendous blessing by Ketaya.
Nanaji.
Yes, please.
The
introduction means.
Dhanyavad, Nanaji.
Thank you very much, Nanaji.
I must say Dhanyavad. I have well-meaning listeners to what we have been discussing.
Excuse me, please, one question for me. The introduction means the introduction of the first chapter or the 18th chapter?
It is the introduction to the entire Gita.
The first, okay.
Yeah, correct. You will like it.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know whether you people have done that already during your Manana class. I'm not sure. Even granting you have done, it does not do any harm to give it a second reading. Because what you have already known, it will become amply clear by a second reading. Okay?
Or it will be established.
Yes. Hari Om.
That, Nana. We are indeed blessed to have. Oh, okay. I think Nana left. We are indeed